Welcome to Marketplace by Wisco Weekly. Apparently, when you move your hands, it gets more attention. Marketplace by Wisco Weekly is where we highlight some new car deals and some used car gems. If you have a car and you are looking to sell your car private party, reach out to us, send us an email at marketplace@wiscoweeklypod.com, and we may feature your car on the show. On today's episode, we're going to break down a Subaru Ascent lease. And we're also then going to take a look at what is our used car gem of the week. So let's get into it here. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a Subaru Ascent. And essentially what I want to go through with you today is how I look at a deal, a quote unquote deal on a new car. And so the first thing I do is I visit the manufacturer websites. I kind of start here to give me a baseline of what I will expect when I start shopping around at dealership websites. So I'm choosing the Subaru Ascent, and specifically, oh look, they got 0% financing. This is like 2011, 2010 all over again. 0% financing. And we have, okay, here we have our lease. Now, when we look at a lease, there are a few things that I specifically am looking for. I'm looking for what is the base payment. Here is $305 per month. What is the MSRP of the advertised car that is connected to that $305 payment? The MSRP of this car is $33,005. Not always will manufacturers list out the residual. In this particular case with Subaru, they do. So the residual on this car is $20,463, which tells me that this is a 62% residual. Now, understand that I know how to do leases by hand, and because of that, I have a very good understanding of the math. So I may jump around and make these conclusions about these lease vehicles and lease deals, and you just have to trust that I know what I'm talking about. If you have questions on how I derive my numbers, ask away, and I'd be happy to share with you. So we have the residual at $20,463. What's the term on this baby? The term is going to be 36 months. 36 month, and how many miles? 12,000 miles per year, $300 disposition fee. And this is good through April 30th. Okay, so I have a baseline now of what a lease deal is on a Subaru Ascent. The one thing that I like to counterbalance this lease deal with is what is the max MSRP, or what's the highest range of the MSRP of a Subaru Ascent? Because essentially what I'm trying to get done for you guys here is the idea that even before you call into a dealer, that you have an idea of what the lease payment range is on a vehicle. A lot of times on these websites, the manufacturers and even the dealers tend to advertise the lowest price vehicle they have in stock because that attracts the lowest payment. So there are some of us that don't really care about the lowest payment, but we do want to have an idea of what the payment range is to give us an expectation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to different, I'm looking at what the highest range of the Ascent is. And I can see here that it is $46,055. In the case of the Subaru Ascent, when you are looking at the highest trim level, in this case, the trim level is the Touring. This already comes packed with so much goodies that the only things that you can add are just little accessory items that would cost a couple $100, and everything is just very subjective here, right? So I'm just going to continue to use 46,000 as my highest MSRP for the Subaru Ascent. Okay, now what I'm going to do is now I want to take a look at some dealer offers, some local dealer offers. I'm in Southern California. We'll try to peruse the country every once in a while. But in this particular case, we're looking at Irvine Subaru. Irvine Subaru has a 2020 Ascent for $305, $29.85 due out at signing. That's good till 4:30. So this is looking like the manufacturer special. So there is probably going to be no difference here, right? Yeah, it looks like this is the exact same. Okay. So why am I checking at the local dealer level? Well, because the local dealer, they don't have to carry the national special. As a matter of fact, what ends up happening is that they may end up beating the national special, depending on what are the actual cars they have in stock. Depending on what are the actual cars they have in stock. This is Tim and Subaru. Tim and Subaru is in Long Beach. They have a lease 2020 Ascent for $305. This might be the same, $29.85. So this is exactly the regional special. If we look at, this is Walker's Renton in Renton, Washington, and this is nice and courteous of them. They have a letter here that informs customers their store policy when it comes to COVID-19. But if we take a look at their lease special, they have theirs listed at $319 per month. Relatively the same amount out of pocket, same MSRP car, same residual, 12,000 miles per year. So in a lot of ways, this is a higher priced. This is $14 more than the special that's advertised in Southern California. Why is this one priced at $14 more per month? Well, it could be the fact that the Northwest region has different, they obviously have the same residual value. The money factor may be a bit different. And it just might be that this dealership decided that this was the math that they think that they should be selling their Subaru Ascent. That's the payment that's most attractive. If we look at Stevens Creek Subaru, Stevens Creek Subaru has an ad here for $288 per month or 0% financing. $288 per month. If I click on this ad, see, I really hate this and despise this, because what I'm trying to do is, again, I want to try to see what is the fine language, what the details are of the lease deal. And as I click on the ad, it's taking me to the SRP page. And I don't really care so much for the SRP right now. Let's see. So we want to look at 36 months, $4,000 out of pocket, 10,000 miles per year. And that gives you $288, and that's on stock number 200,755. 200,755. So, mind you, the particular lease deal at Stevens Creek Subaru is advertising this particular one for $288 per month for 10,000 miles with $4,000 out of pocket. And it is a cinnamon brown pearl with a warm ivory interior. Now, that is a color combination that appeals to literally 1% of the population. That is probably one of the worst color combinations to attract at least even 10% of their customer base. You're literally going after one particular person that wants that. That could even be a custom order car that somebody canceled and now they got to sell this thing. Because to be honest with you, this particular deal is pretty damn good. $288 per month, 10,000 miles for a car that's priced at $37,000, almost $38,000, and it's for $288 per month. Because mind you, the national lease special is for a $33,000 car, and you get $305 per month, and it's $3,000 out of pocket, wherever it was. Where did I see it? There it is, $29.85, $3,000 out of pocket. Okay, so I have an idea now of what a lease special is for a Subaru Ascent. One of the things that I have here is I have a trusty spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet I will give access to you all, and specifically I'll give it to you guys. I'll give access in a few weeks. I'm looking to build up more vehicles in here, and then you can have an idea of what's a fair deal is on particular new particular new cars. So I've entered Subaru Ascent with an MSRP of $33,000 for 36 months, 12,000 miles. The advertised special is $305 plus tax. We have the residual at $20,463. There's $3,000 due at signing. So now if I am to estimate what is a good deal on this particular car, if I decide to base all my deals on 12,000 miles per year, I recommend less out of pocket, because for less out of pocket, I'm only looking at your DMV fees, your first month's payment, and any additional fees that may come with the lease. I think in this case, the minimum is going to be approximately $1,800. So because you're putting $1,800 down and not the $3,000, I think that's a fair lease deal. A fair payment that is on the low range would be $360 plus tax, and a high payment that would be based on an MSRP of $46,000. MSRP of $46,000, you're going to be about $550 per month on a Subaru Ascent. I hope that was helpful to you on how to understand and how to basically forecast what is a good lease deal on a Subaru Ascent. Before we go on, again, if you have a car that you would like us to share with our audience, please send us an email at marketplace@wiscoweeklypod.com, and also check out the podcast where we feature a lot of guests and critical thinkers in the automotive and mobility space. There'll be, I've had dealers on there, I've had technologists on there, I've had public sector individuals on there. There's a whole gamut of discussions we get into about what the future holds for the automotive and mobility space. You can listen to that content through the podcast only. Find Wisco Weekly on any popular podcast. Now, let's take a look at the used car gem of the week. The used car gem of the week, we are still going to stick with Subaru, and specifically we're going to look at a Subaru Ascent. No, Subaru Impreza. Okay. And this is the one I found on Car Gurus. It's a 2012 Subaru Impreza WRX STI all-wheel drive for $22,400. It's 2,000 miles away from me in Rex, Georgia. Again, I'm based in Southern California and Orange County specifically. But what I want to share with you here is just to give you an idea of who this seller is, because again, in this market right now of uncertainty, where there's going to be a lot of used cars coming into the market, there's also going to be a lot of gems to find. And this is indeed one of them. It's a Subaru RX. It's in this very nice red color, red exterior color. It looks like it's well cared for. There's 48,000 miles. And if you look into this description, this is a good description that would lead me to believe that the seller, in this case, the seller is Christopher, is a pretty straightforward, I shouldn't say straightforward. He's honest. He's honest about how he's selling his car. Not only that, I can then take a look at some of his pictures. When you're posting an engine of the car, that is a picture that the average Joe, the average car seller in a private market does not post, and yet he's posting this. He's obviously an enthusiast. He does have some modified parts on the car, which he does disclose here. His engine cold air intake, and SPT performance catback exhaust, and so forth and so on. This is just an example of how this seller has done a great job listing the car, providing pictures, providing a good description, and hence this is our used car gem of the week. I hope all this information was helpful to you as we look at the Subaru Ascent and what the lease deals are with that. And we also looked at a used car gem of the Subaru Impreza. Again, if you have a car that you want us to share, send us an email at marketplace@wiscoweeklypod.com. Follow us on the podcast and subscribe. And if you want to know more information about other cars, then write us a comment below and we'll get back to you. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll try to do a video on it. Okay? Thanks.